Welcome to the Morning Report, a production of fightbackmedia.com, the #1 source of urban conservative information in America.
Well, good morning. This is the Morning Report, and I'm your host, Willie Lawson, here at fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com. Today, we step into a story that's really not easy to tell. Not because it isn't true, not because the facts aren't available, because it hits at the heart of what we expect from our leaders, our media, and frankly, even our friends and family. It's one about aging. And as we all move to that place, it starts to hit. All of us start to hit a little harder, doesn't it? So it's about aging, it's about loyalty, political gamesmanship, and a nation caught in the middle. So this morning, we're diving into the revelations from Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson's new book called Original Sin, which tackles President Joe Biden's mental decline near the end of his presidency, and the stunning extent to which his inner circle and the media kind of look the other way. This isn't just a news story. Cautionary tale. All right. A president in decline. Let's begin with what Tapper and Thompson lay out plainly. President Biden's cognitive health was failing. And we're not just talking about the stumbles that late night comedians love to clip for YouTube. No, we're talking about memory lapses, moments of confusion, meandering speech, and an alarming dependence on handlers to navigate even the most basic interactions. There are reports from former aides that late in 2023, Biden was struggling to stay on script, even for short, prepared remarks. Staff had to use multiple cameras and splice footage together just to create something coherent for the public. Think about that. A sitting president being digitally stitched together like a movie scene just to appear functional. And it wasn't just some low-level whisperers. Former President Barack Obama repeatedly told him respectfully and firmly, just make sure you can win the race. That's code, folks. That's as close as Obama is going to get to maybe it's time you bow out. But Biden didn't. And the question is why? At 7 Weeks Coffee, every sip defends life. We give 10% of every sale to pro-life pregnancy centers across America. Drink coffee with conviction, because your brew should stand for something. The answer lies with Biden's closest advisors. Mike Donilon, Steve Ricchetti, and others who were so determined to keep him on the ballot. So they built this fortress around the truth. Tapper calls it a campaign of gaslighting. Not wrong. Rather than to confront reality, Biden's team curated it. They scheduled fewer public appearances, and we all saw that. They cut off unscripted moments. So at the end of some scripted remarks, where in front of the press, they shoot him right off the platform. They managed everything, down to even who can enter the room. One aide said, "We were protecting him from his own staff." It's not loyalty. That's enabling. Now, were these people evil? They were loyal, fiercely loyal. They believed they were protecting a legacy. But what they were really doing was betraying the public's trust. And at the end, they betrayed Biden too, by pushing him past the line of dignity. It, as we watched, my wife and I talk about this all the time. As we watched, it was really, forget politics. It was a sad thing to watch. It was obviously this poor man was suffering, and they just kept putting him out there. They just kept putting him out there. Well, good morning. I hope you're enjoying the program. I have something that I want to offer you. I want to offer you a chance to subscribe to fightbackmedia.com, and by doing that, all you have to do is go to the website and scroll down to where it says subscribe, enter your first name and your email address and your birthday. And your birthday, because I want to say happy birthday when it's your birthday. If you'll do that for us, go to fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com. I'll really appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the rest of the program. Okay, now let's not pretend the media was innocent here, including Tapper. Throughout 2023, the signs were there. The stumbles, the gaffes, the wandering off stage. You remember? All that stuff. But instead of digging in, the media chose to gaslight the public too. Major outlets dismissed any concern as a right-wing smear. I kid you not. CNN, the New York Times treated Biden's obvious struggles as a GOP talking point. At NPR, pretended it wasn't even happening at all. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer stepped in, declaring his mental acuity is great. Great? Come on, Chuck. That's how this works. And yet that statement became gospel in the press circles. So it wasn't until June 24 that the debate really forced its way onto the center stage. America, you and I, saw all of this in real time. A president who was obviously not well. He lost his train of thought, paused in confusion, and failed to respond with clarity. Even allies were shaken. And suddenly, the same media that had mocked concern now scrambled to explain how they missed it. Answer? They didn't miss it. They just ignored it. Are you tired of funding woke corporations? At Mammoth Nation, shop American-owned businesses that share your values. Get exclusive member-only deals that pay for themselves. Join the America First Marketplace at mammoth.com. Why didn't somebody step in? Why didn't somebody say, hey, if you're interested in protecting somebody's legacy, shouldn't you be interested in protecting them first, even before their legacy? So why didn't Bernie Sanders or ALC or even Kamala Harris raise a red flag? Why? Because party unity was more important than national clarity. Democrats feared another Trump term more than they feared a failing Biden presidency. Progressives who had built their brand on truth to power were silent. Instead of encouraging primary challenges, they propped him up. Instead of passing the torch, they held on tighter. And Joe Biden, he believed it. He truly believed that he was still the only one who could win. Remember, he sat down with George Stephanopoulos and said, I just had a bad night. He refused cognitive testing. I get cognitive testing every day. Not the answer. That's denial dressed up in defiance. Hi, I'm Willie Lawson of the Morning Report. In all our work here on the Morning Report and Fight Back Media, what we have found being true is one thing for sure. Godly principles are lacking on both sides of the aisle. And many organizations are putting profits before people. Our friend at 7 Weeks Coffee was started to reverse that trend and live out their calling as believers in the marketplace. As a value-based business, 7 Weeks Coffee has a simple and transparent mission: to donate 10% of every sale to pregnancy care centers across the nation. They are committed to earning your trust, not expecting it. And how do they do this? By leading with their values, showing the impact, and providing the highest quality product. Y'all know I'm a Christian, I'm a conservative, and 7 Weeks Coffee unapologetically supports pregnancy centers across the nation. Join us by letting your coffee serve a greater purpose. Then came July 2024. Biden finally dropped out. Now, this is July, before the November election. There was no national moment. No getting on the podium, no address. Just a Sunday statement buried under weekend headlines. The most consequential campaign exit in modern history was treated like any other press release. Strategists like David Plouffe, you remember David Plouffe from the Obama campaign, behind closed door, they were livid. They were crazy angry. They said Biden had just totally screwed us because the campaign was in chaos. The party fractured, all of it. All of it could have been avoided with just 1 ounce of honesty months earlier. So what about the media? Post-exit, they all turn on a dime, including Tapper. The same papers that dismissed concern began publishing reviews calling Biden's decline damning and devastating. Where were they when it counted? Thank you ever so much for hanging in to get to this part of the video. Really appreciate it. Hey, listen, if you really, apparently you really like us, so go to our Patreon. We have a Patreon. The first Patreon I got, they had a data breach. Not good. But anyway, if you would go to Patreon, patreon.com/morning report, and help us out there. We're trying to produce all sorts of other content that's sort of behind the scenes stuff, so you could actually see what's down here and around here, other than my guitar over there. And some special videos that are not anywhere else. So go to patreon.com/morning report. Patreon.com/morning report. We're almost done. Joe Biden is not a villain, all right? He's a dude who served his country for decades, way too long. He's overcome loss, the loss of his son, Beau, a tragedy and hardship. And I think he started off like most, a decent dude. But that doesn't entitle him to a second term. And it doesn't excuse a system that allowed his decline to be hidden from the people he served. Now, aging isn't shameful. Thank goodness. But hiding it is. America deserves leaders who are present, sharp, and capable, especially in these times. We don't need political weekend at Bernie routines. We need courage to face reality, to speak truth, and to transition power when it's time. So Joe Biden's fall wasn't just about one man. It was about an entire ecosystem of silence and self-deception. From political strategists to cable news anchors, including Tapper. From loyal staffers to celebrity supporters. They all played a role in pretending everything was fine. And the cost? The American public was left in the dark until it was too late. So what's the takeaway here? We must do better. We must expect more. The presidency isn't a lifetime achievement award. It's the most demanding job on the planet. We must demand accountability from our leaders, our media, and our own side of the aisle. Let's not get caught up in cults of personality or party loyalty when competence is at stake. Let's call out decline when we see it, not after the collapse. This has been the Mona Report. The Mona Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. Just like always, go out there and learn something, love somebody. And for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.